Hello, friends, and welcome to Activate and Thrive and to our weekly Thriving Thursday interview where we speak with different, beautiful, health minded souls. We have these interviews every Thursday at noon Eastern US time, right on our Activate and Thrive page. So you can come there and look for the live. And we're very happy to welcome our special guest. Today, my partner Mia is down in Long Island with our guests, and I'm back at our home headquarters. So we're doing it separately today, but together.
So welcome everyone. Sorry we had a little glitch getting started. We have our special guest today is Dr. Karen Lalli. She's been a chiropractor since 1986. She's been in the holistic healing practice for 40 years. She's an energy healer and an amazing friend. And I'm actually with her right now at her home in the Hamptons for this interview. She's a gifted healer. And today she's going to share with us the importance of breath focus in self-care and how it affects us on a cellular level. When we take that time to get still and breathe, and we all live in a very chaotic environment at times, and that can really take its toll. So Dr. Lalli has reinvented her healing practice to total overall wellness. Her healing center is Live Well with Lalli, and we will put her contact info into the comments, and you can reach out to her. But her focus is on encompassing the mind, the body, the spirit, and I'll let her share more about that. But one of the reasons we wanted to have Dr. Lalli with us this week is because April is actually National Stress Awareness Month. And she's going to share with us how self-love and self-healing through finding your way to be grounded with the breath and how we can manage stress. But that breath focus can really increase our ability, our capacity to increase joy in our bodies and release that stress. So welcome, Dr. Lalli, and thank you for being here with our guests. And maybe we could just start with what it is that drives you in your healing modalities.
Thank you for having me. I hope everyone who has tried to get on here today, because we had a little bit of technical difficulty earlier, is able to join us now. So come on in and take the next 20 minutes to learn some things about self-care and self-healing. As Mia said, I'm a chiropractor. I've been a chiropractor since 1986. Before that, I was a massage therapist since the 70s. So I would say what drives me is connecting with people and sharing healing ideas. I love to educate people. I love to educate myself and then see what kind of things we can use as tools and practices for ourselves, hopefully simple ones, because those are the most easily put into habitual use. Because as we all know, doing one thing only and not making it part of your daily routine is hard. So let's educate ourselves for a couple of minutes. I just sat up in my chair and I'd love you to do the same. I invite you to put your feet on the floor, flat on the floor. If you have heels on, you have my permission to kick them off for the next 10 minutes. And I'd love to feel your soles on the floor. If you can kind of clutch your toes a little bit to just feel your feet on the floor and what that feels like to have awareness in your feet. And think of, as you see the branches of my beautiful dogwood tree outside behind us, how they make a network like this. Think of a network of roots coming out of the soles of your feet, just for a moment. And then feel how that drops your energy down a little lower into your body. Because most of the time, unfortunately, we're all in our head. I could talk to you like a talking head in a really loud voice or a quick voice and just keep talking and talking and talking, and you tune me out in a second. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to feel ourselves and to learn a few things we can do to help ourselves. So now that you have your feet on the floor, I'd love you to take one or two hands and just put them on the bottom part of your belly, under your not under your diaphragm, under your navel, under your belly button, just for a minute while you're sitting up straight. And now take a breath to push your belly out against your hand. And then as you exhale, let your belly come in. Good. Just 1 or 2 breaths like that to settle into yourself so you can hear me, and I settle into myself so I can speak to you from a grounded place. So 1 more breath into your hands. Smile to your organs and breathe out. Now, that might be the one conscious breath you take today. Can you imagine how many breaths you're going to take in the next 24 hours that are not conscious? God bless us that our body actually does that without our help. Isn't that a wonderful thing? That is really a gift. And we should, if grateful for nothing else, we should be glad that while we're sleeping and when we wake up in the morning, we didn't have to think about our breathing. Okay? So that's a super simple tip on self-care. I could stop there, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper today because we have a few more minutes. So I said I like to connect with people. I like to connect with people like this. And I like to connect with myself, because when you're more connected with yourself, you're more present in your life and you're more able to have a rich life. You can increase your capacity for joy. All of those things bring good feelings into your body. And those good feelings cultivate things in your system, in your nervous system, and many other parts of your body. So we want to cultivate things that are reinforcing our nervous system acting correctly. The reason I love the breath so much is because it is a conscious or unconscious act. We can voluntarily control it, like we just did a moment ago, or it can be involuntarily working for or against us. Now, how could your breath work against you? I just want you to think about that for a second. I thought that you mentioned something briefly about that, Dawn, actually, didn't you?
Yeah,
How does breathing work against you?
right. Well, in fact, as you're kind of alluding to, that may be the best breath so many of us take today. How much do we really think about the importance of how we breathe and of getting those kinds of breaths that you're talking about? And can you just speak for a moment about the kinds of things that can happen to us when we breathe too shallow or just don't take the time to be really grounded with our breath? I think we so struggle with even thinking about that necessarily.
Right.
Like when we may be going through a stressful time and, how that affects us.
Boo!
Didn't work.
If I really stressed her out, if I told her, oh my God, I'm going to pick up my shirt right now, she would be holding her breath in fear or stress. When you hold your breath, it's no good. Right. Once you start holding your breath, you shut down many systems and reactions in your body. Once you hold your breath, your diaphragm isn't moving. You get cut off between the top half and the bottom half of your body. And even worse, if you continue to hold your breath long term in a chronic way, most of your cells won't get oxygenated. And we need oxygen into every cell. Our oxygen exchange, the diffusion of oxygen through the beautiful lung tissue that we have, innervates and revitalizes every cell every moment. There's only a few things that actually do that. One of them we're going to talk about later, which is actually a genetic pathway. That's something that can activate your cells every moment of every day. But going back to the breath. So your diaphragm is actually a muscle that is above your belly button, and you can put one hand below your belly button and one hand above your belly button. Now, if you breathe in, can you actually move both hands? I'd just like you to see so we can still stay tuned in while we're listening. So breathe in to one hand above and one hand below your belly. If you take a pretty full breath, good, Dawn, I saw that happen. Breathe out. You actually can move both hands, but it's a lot more effort because most of us are shallow breathers. So those are two parts that should be moving with a full breath. The last part is up in here in your apical portion or your apex of your lungs. So there's three parts of your body that can move with a full breath. Under your underbelly, your diaphragm or midsection, and then your chest. Most people are breathing into one, hopefully one or more parts, but oftentimes they're breathing into half of one part and not getting any oxygen.
Wow.
I know that's a big thing, especially if you live above sea level, then you're already having decreased oxygen in the air. So knowing that your diaphragm needs to be released, you can probe around sometime. I'm not going to ask you to do it today, around your rib cage, your lower rib cage and diaphragm, and just see if you feel a balled up part of it, it's probably your diaphragm. So there's something to do with self-care. I think when you learn about the beautiful things that are in the body and how they do work for us, it cultivates self-love.
Yeah.
It really
Absolutely.
does. I'm loving myself right now just thinking about it, and so is she. Look how happy she just got.
You know, we all face stresses in life, and of course, our first reaction with stress is to not breathe, and it really should be the opposite, isn't it? But what can somebody do? I mean, how do we catch ourselves if we're undergoing a stressful moment to be able to say, no, I'm going to breathe? I mean, I guess you could say, well, just do it, catch yourself and breathe, but we don't.
Right.
And you know, what do we do to get our breath in the right place to go to kind of push through that stress? And what's it going to do to that feeling of stress?
Um, that's a really good question. I have 18-year-old twins, and I drive with them, and they haven't been driving that long. So when I'm in the car, one of the main things I'm saying, whether we're having a conversation at all or not, is watch out. I must say that like every 10 seconds, watch out.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say that, I'm tensing and I'm going into my fight or flight mode because I'm nervous that they're going to hit the car in front of us or shoot out in the car next to us or not stop at the stop sign and roar through the yellow light, whatever it is. And when I do that, watch out, I'm holding my breath and I'm getting ready to run or fight the tiger or whatever it is that you need to face in a fight or flight mechanism. That is one side of your nervous system. It's called your sympathetic side. Your fight or flight mechanism is your sympathetic nervous system. And it triggers a whole cascade of events. Your eyes open wide, as you saw mine when I said watch out. Your brain demands more sugar. Your muscles tense and get ready to either fight or run. And your diaphragm, your digestion, your ability to heal and everything else gets shut off because you are in an acute situation. And so you're reacting acutely with your eyes, your brain, and your musculature. So if you live in that phase of watch out, it's very hard to do other things. Your body is in a state of alertness and therefore probably not breathing deeply. So if you feel yourself reacting in a way like that, like I another thing people do very often is,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do that.
instead of saying watch out, they, what am I doing? I'm holding my breath.
Right.
So when I do that, I can take it as a deep inhale to exhale.
And we just had a moment like that at the beginning of this when we were having those technical glitches, and everyone's like holding
Right.
their breath a little bit instead of doing the opposite and breathing. Relax. We'll
Right.
both get through this better if we're breathing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
So I keep making this interactive, and I don't even know if anybody's listening. I hope you are. I know a few of my
We
friends.
certainly have some people enjoying this right now
Yeah.
live, and there'll be more looking at YouTube, and
Right.
this
So
will
let's do
always
one
be
more thing. We did one conscious breath. We felt the parts of our diaphragm and belly moving. We were aware that you can aerate this part of your lungs when you take a full breath, all three parts. So now I want you to and exhale fully. Good, Dawn. Again, exhale. And as you exhale, fully exhale and settle back into your feet. Feel your roots. Feel grounded. When you're grounded in your lower body, all your energy isn't going to be going into the top of your head and get into a hysterical state of mind, or your fight or flight mechanism, your sympathetic nervous system. So that we love it, right? We love it because if we have danger, we need it.
Yeah.
So we don't want to shut it off. We want to be happy for it, but we want to also acknowledge the other side of our nervous system. Does anybody here know what the other side of your nervous system is? Post it in the chat.
I'm not allowed to say because we have notes here for what we're talking about.
We're not allowed to say it. We know.
No, okay. So one side is your sympathetic or fight or flight. The opposite side, the other side, which is the lesser side, it's the lesser acknowledged side, we don't live there as much, is your parasympathetic side.
Parasympathetic.
P-A-R-A, sympathetic, yep. So I'm not going to get into it too much because I could talk all day. And I don't want to take up too much time, but this is a very interesting fact. There is a machine that alternative healers use. The doctor that I worked with in Phoenix used. It's called HRV, heart rate variability, and it actually checks your reserve of your sympathetic and parasympathetic on a graph. And if your parasympathetic reserve is very low, if you get sick, it's going to be hard to get well. Because what your parasympathetic nervous system does is repair your body. It replenishes, it rejuvenates. And how does it do those things? By assimilating, digesting, and eliminating. And none of that works. Your salivary glands shut off with your fight or flight mechanism. Your gastric juices shut off. Your peristaltic motion of your colon shuts off. All of those things do not work if you're living in your fight or flight. So do yourself a favor. Before you're going to eat today, smell your food. Bring the aroma of your food into your olfactory nerve that can tell your saliva glands, hey, we're going to eat something, wake up. Parasympathetic, get ready. Your parasympathetic wants to relax, it wants to sit back, it wants to eat chocolate, it wants to enjoy your meal and chew your food and start making it into fuel for our system.
Well, let me ask you this, is there a certain way we should breathe when we smell our food? It's a serious question. No, you said smell your food. I mean, just a quick
like this.
That's great. That idea of smell your food before you eat it. Let that get
Not you, Dawn. You don't need to.
So do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to?
Remember how the Italian waiter goes by with the garlic butter, right? He walks through the dining room. And think of that.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Because your olfactory sense has a lot to do with your parasympathetic nervous system.
That's just fascinating.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think it is. So that's it. So that's your two sides of your nervous system and a very brief overview of how they work. So I am happy to talk about something, but I think one of you might have had a question for me.
Did you want to ask something?
Just if she could talk a little bit about how we can increase our joy, our capacity for joy and happiness with this whole breath focus.
Of course I can. What does your capacity for joy even mean? Let's think about that for a second. How do you feel joy? For me, one, I start smiling a lot. I I pull my smile comes from the back of my neck, actually. When I really smile, I used to have a headache in the back of my head from smiling at my kids when they were first born. Because when you're really happy, you really smile. And another thing that happens to most people, like you feel like your chest is open. You feel like you feel it in your heart. You feel it in your chest when you're joyful. And then if you're laughing, you feel it in your belly too. And you really, and so it's kind of like joyfulness is kind of a giggly feeling. It's kind of an effervescent feeling. And it's a lightness. And I think, we've had a very stressful year. We've had a very stressful couple of years, really. And in that way, I think our capacity for joy is decreased because people have been living in fear of many things and foreboding. And when you feel like that, it's hard to have an open mind or an open heart. It is, because you're on guard, you're more defensive. And to increase your capacity for joy, it would be good if you could find ways to that bring you joy. Like, look, let me show you something. Look at this.
They're so happy.
Look at these, all different beautiful flowers smiling at us right now. Does that bring you any joy? It does to me.
I love daffodils.
I mean, that's saying, here comes spring. So simple things, a plant you love, music. Don came and stayed at my house and was playing the viola in the other room and teaching. And I'm walking into my office on the other side of the room, all happy because I have this beautiful music in my room.
Yeah.
So having music, having something that titillates your senses, to look at, to listen to smell, those increase your capacity for joy. If I reach over far enough, I could pick up my little dog. This little dog gives such increased joyful feeling.
Well,
so doing things you love.
Yeah, that's beautiful. This whole segment on the joy and finding those things that bring happiness really is very meaningful, and we all need that. And we like to respect people's time with our interviews, and we're kind of coming to the point where we want to let people go, although we never like to end. But we understand that you may have a short breathing exercise that you'd like to just lead us all through as we end here. Or did you do that with us at the beginning?
I will do a short breathing segment with you. I just want to tell you a couple of things first.
Yes.
In case you didn't get my name, it's Dr. Karen, Karen Lalli, Lalli.
Yeah, why don't you change the name there to that so people can see it? Change the Activate and Thrive to Dr. Karen Lalli.
And I do actually breathing, free Facebook Live breathing twice a week on my Facebook page, which is Karen Lalli, not my Dr. Karen Lalli page. I'm doing it on my personal Karen Lalli page on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today is Thursday. I'm actually doing it at 3 p.m. today. Usually it's always Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. So if you ever want to do some breathing with me, I do a segment like this, and it's mainly on the breath and a couple of other things to do with self-care. And the last thing I wanted to broach is that we're doing some mini retreats here, which Mia will hopefully attend and be a part of, in Long Island. And they're going to include breath work. They're going to include self-care, organic food, cellular care, and so many things. So if you want to reach out to us, I'll be glad to give you more information about that.
Very good. And perhaps we'll just also say that, there are many ways to basically upregulate healthy systems in our bodies. We've been talking about breathing here. That helps. And we also work with a very significant and basically category creating, groundbreaking technology that helps on a cellular level. And we'd also be happy to engage with you and share more with you about that. And I wanted to say that before we do the breathing exercise, because I think it's a beautiful idea just to end with the breathing. So go ahead.
So what Don just said about that he works with something amazing. The great thing about the nerve 2 genetic activator of which he speaks of is that it helps to detox your cells, just like your breath. Some people can't breathe hard, or they have emphysema, they have limited lung function, they have issues. Some people don't remember to breathe, just like we talked about earlier. But with the nerve 2 activation, you can detox your cells in a way that's harmonious with the breath. And so I encourage people to look into that, because that's the more things you can pile on in your levels of self-healing and self-care these days, the better, because we do need more help than we did in earlier times.
Right, right,
Just from
Very
our
good.
toxins in the world, etc.
Right.
So
Excellent.
anything that you can do that isn't too much trouble, like taking a little yellow pill in the morning, that's not that hard to do. It's probably easier than taking a conscious breath.
Yeah.
So
And it's all natural.
you can try that and decide for yourself. We'd love to
Right.
know your input. Which is easier,
Absolutely.
remembering to breathe or taking the little yellow pill? Let's
Mm.
take a poll.
Let's hope they're both going to be easy enough, right? That's the thing.
Exactly.
They
So
all
why
work
don't you share
together.
with us this breathing exercise as we wrap up here?
So here we're going to, again, put our feet on the floor, okay? We're going to feel our legs at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to even close my eyes for a minute. I'm going to feel my spine in the chair. I'm going to imagine, which I can visualize easy because mine's very open, a column of light, just a vertical column of light all the way through from the very base of my spine, a little in front of where my actual spine is, all the way up to the top of my head, blasting out the top of my head like this. And just think of that vertical column. You have your roots down into the ground. You have your vertical column that's following your straight spine up and out through the top of your head. And just visualize that and breathe 1 or 2 breaths like that, breathing into your vertical core. Okay. 1 more breath, and then I want you to open your eyes for a second. Good. Now, breathe in through the top of your head. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And exhale through your forehead, out. Breathe in through your forehead. Breathe in, breathe in. Breathe out through the top of your head. All the way up, 3 feet above your head. Breathe out too. Then suck the air in through the top of your head. Breathe in. Be aware of your vertical core in front of your spine. Breathe out through your forehead. Beautiful. Good. That activates your pituitary gland, which is the gland in the middle of your head. It slows your brain down. It tunes you into your body. These are all things we need and love.
Beautiful. Wow.
Our bodies are remarkable, and when we give them the right ammunition, they can heal from within.
We are here to strengthen our self-awareness, to care for and transforms ourselves from the tips of our toes to the top of our head. We're encouraging you to discover your true essence and be all you can be.
Beautiful. Well, Dr. Karen Lalli, thank you so much for joining us today. This was just so enlightening, and I hope anybody who has watched this goes away, I know I will, with a better awareness of the importance of the things that Dr. Lalli has talked about, especially in relation to breathing. So thank you so much, and we look forward to, that's right, we look forward to having you join us next week for our next Thriving Thursday. And thank you so much again, Dr. Lalli. It's been a real
Thank you,
joy.
friends. I'm Nia
Thank you very much.
Krishnaswamy, Don
I'm Don
Krishnaswamy.
Krishnaswamy.
Have a blessed day.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.